A former Deputy Public Protector who was part of the team that released that initial state of the capture report that led to the formation of the commission. A very good morning to you, Advocate Malunga. Thanks for making the time.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Does it seem like a lifetime ago for you, since you were part of that team that released the original state of capture public protector report that called for an investigation into whether state capture exists in the country?
Oh, absolutely. It's so amazing that this thing that we conceptualized as a recommendation, a finding to the president, is now coming to fruition. And of course, what was necessary was to entrench the principles of accountability, and it's happening. And I think its timing is very appropriate, albeit late.
And how have you been engaging with the topic and the process of the commission from the outside?
Well, when I was in my previous role, I did engage with the commission, and of course, just to advise them and hand over documentation. But from the outside, obviously, no one is supposed to interfere. We've all been keen observers. We've all naturally had our preferences in terms of how they should go about this. From the very word go, when they started, when I gave them advice, was to be very strong on forensics, very strong on evidence. You know, this is the kind of thing where people get very excited. There's someone tweeting this, someone posting that on social media. That is not what really matters at the end of the day. What really matters is evidentiary support to what is there, or to the claims that are being made. You will have seen that this is a build-up from the last report, which dealt with the SAA, the AXA and SA Express issues. And of course, this one, the coming one, will deal with state-owned enterprises. And I presume your process, etc., will come through. And South Africa's performance, certainly in the past maybe two, possibly 3 decades, has largely hinged on the performance of state-owned enterprises along with the private sector. So an ill-performing state will be an ill-performing country. So it's something that needs to be that needs to be put out there. And then, of course, you have the issues of evidence. You'll see the findings of the last, that is part 1 of the report, dealt extensively with the issue of saying, let's send this to the NPA. The NPA hasn't really covered itself in glory over the past few years in terms of effective prosecutions. There's been a lot of hype, but not much action. So we need to at least see them coming to the party. And of course, if they are to win this, it's about strong evidence, strong investigative skills, strong forensics, and then they'll be able to come through. But at the same time, while people are getting excited, the people who are accused of things have rights. And that's very important, that you never forget that. And that must always be at the back of people's minds.
Talking about those rights, when the former president went to the State Capture Commission, former President Jacob Zuma, he brought up again that conversation about whether there is indeed state capture in the country. What are your thoughts here? Of
course there's state capture. I think it's a matter of semantics. So this is a topic that has come through over time. I just also want to correct the caption there. I am academic head of law, not senior lecturer, but the issue is really about semantics and what really transpired. The state was captured. There's no doubt about that. The extent to which it was captured, and who are the role players, etc. So the issue now is cleaning up. I don't think anybody in their right mind would dispute that the situation as it prevailed, and this is why we wrote that report when I was in my previous role. The situation as it prevailed was unsustainable. So now the question is, how do you clean it up formally using the rule of law, not politics, not sentiment? And this is what this process is about. It's about entrenching accountability. So I definitely do believe that there was state capture. You should not have people who are outside the state calling the shots as to what happens in the state. And of course, you will have seen that a big component of the previous part dwelt a lot on the issue of public procurement. And that is probably South Africa's biggest weakness in terms of how it performs as a country. You know, if you look at SAA, you look at AXA in the previous one, and then of course, I'm sure PRASA and all the others are coming up. They just have huge budgets, but ultimately very little to show in terms of performance of the economy of the country. And of course, I think this will give the powers that be leverage and authority to act. But as I said, as I keep saying, that you must have evidence. You must use proper mechanisms in terms of the rule of law. Whether you suspect somebody or you don't like somebody is not enough. Whether somebody has tweeted about something is not enough. You've got to have evidence. You've got to have facts that point to wrongdoing.
President Cyril Ramaphosa, for his part, says he'll only act once the full report has come through, submitted to Parliament. What are your thoughts about this?
No, that's the correct approach. But of course, judging from how some of the role players have continued acting in roles such as portfolio chairs in Parliament, etc., he will really have to walk the talk and not just talk. It's very important that this is seen to be
Advocate Malunga,
an effective. Yes.
We've only got a minute to go, and I just want you to give us a quick summation of what you expect for this report that's coming out this afternoon.
Well, I'm expecting more findings of wrongdoing and manipulation of public procurement systems and governance systems, especially by outsiders of the state. So more of the same that you saw with Bain and the others, what you saw in references to AXA and SAA, you're going to see with the others. State-owned enterprises have been the biggest challenges. I mean, a lot of what is happening, for example, with Eskom is historical. So those are kind of things that will come up over and over and over again. And I really do believe that the NPA now then needs to come to the party and show its mettle and stop, just talking. I think a lot of talking has been done and a lot of resources have been spent on investigations. And I think what proponents of the rule of law want to see accountability at work. And this has been a great start in that direction.
Just a quick one. We talk of your many previous positions. One of them is a chief of staff in the office of the Chief Justice. Your thoughts about the process that's currently underway interviewing for a Chief Justice?
Yes, it was such a pleasure watching Justice Madlanga because we worked together in the Marikana Commission. But I know all four of them. I think the president is spoiled for choice. They're all great candidates. You want a Chief Justice who is stable, who commands the respect of the legal profession, who is not going to be all over the place, who is calm and collected. And I think all four candidates fall within that category. And I think they will make great Chief Justices.
Hope to speak to you again about the report that's coming out this afternoon. Thank you so much for your time, Advocate Kevin Malunga, who is now the head of law studies at Regenesys Business School. And that's it for the agenda. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.